Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the studio with Jake Beerbaum from Pear Tree Ranch, and I've got busy Shires Byerly from Horse Farms Forever here. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. Paulette, wherever you are, we're missing you.
We're missing you, Paulette.
We're missing you, Paulette. We can't believe you bailed on us, especially wearing that fabulous costume. Busy, let's start off with your name. I feel like I'm busy all the time.
Right.
I feel like I use that word a lot.
You're not busy all the time.
I'm never busy. She's busy all the time. I'm Louisa. So tell us about your name. You have a real name, right?
I do have a real name, and my real name is actually Louise.
No!
It is!
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That is so funny. How did I know you all this time and not know that?
It's an old family name. I'm actually the fourth Louise in our family. But
Really?
I was my mother's busy little bee when I was little.
So it was a
And
perfect fit.
It just stuck. I've been busy, so.
And you've been busy ever
Yes.
since.
And my daughter actually she's now the fifth Louise, so she's Camille Louise. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
carrying on that tradition. It's a
I
beautiful
feel
name.
like really special right now.
Yes.
So you grew up on a horse farm, rolling hills. I hear people tell me all the time that the moss on the trees is bad for it, but I love it. I think I look at it and I think it's so beautiful, especially
Right.
when the sun's setting.
Right.
Grew up on a farm. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and your love of the farms and the horses.
Yeah, well, I grew up on the farm that my mom still owns. I have 3 horses that I still keep there, and it really is my favorite place in the whole entire
Is that
world.
Micanopy?
It's in Alachua, just outside the city of Alachua, and we have about 20 magnolias down the driveway, and just that first entryway of driving down the farm, I go, oh, I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
I'm in the right place. And so back in the early 70s, my mom we actually had the very first horse trials in Florida, complete with roads and tracks back in the early 1970s. And the Canadian event team came to our farm. And
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know any of
Yes.
this.
We had, Jack LeGolf was a judge, and Michael Page came down, and we did horse trials and clinics for about 20 years. And then my mom said, that's enough. I'm tired. It was a lot of work.
Gotcha. A lot of work, yes.
But I had have so many happy memories of growing up at the farm and participating in the horse shows, and I was did pony club and all that fun stuff. And so, just growing up, I had to get a real job, and went to college and decided I wanted to devote my life to saving family farms. What would happen to our family farm? Our family has taken steps to make sure that our farm is protected, but I found the land trust movement and private land conservation as the answer. Is how do you help save families' farms for the next generation? And so I have 16 years experience working in land conservation, 14 with a statewide nonprofit land trust called Conservation Florida. And so far, they've protected about 25,000 acres of land in north central Florida.
Wow.
And so they sort of expanded their mission to be more of big, wet and wild greenways, wildlife corridors. But my passion was really always about just family farms. I wanted to help pass that on to the next generation.
Do you think some of that, and Jake, you can probably comment on this as well, because I'm sure you're aware of it, but do you think some of the generations coming up now don't have or haven't had the same passion and love for the land? So is there a fear somewhat? Because this is what concerns me, is as the older people pass away, the next generation that inherits that beautiful place might be like, I don't really want to deal with all of that. I'd rather sell it to someone and it just get developed, and then there's that risk. And is that kind of something that's a big concern? And I think it should be here.
It is.
Right?
I mean, you hear about it, I think, all over the country with farming and agricultural things on the bit of the decline, and that it starts to become, because it's not 100% necessary, like horses as a for fun thing.
Right.
Nowadays, we don't have to have horses to make the world go round.
I do.
I right.
Me too.
People think that we don't. And,
Right, there you go.
It's easy for people to, well, that's hardware, that's the farm, I want to go off. You know, the stories of kids want to go off to the big city. And
Well, that's why I love what you were saying about, you were talking about, oh yeah, you know, I've ordered this cowboy hat helmet for my little guy because you want, he's growing up like a farm life. He's going to appreciate and understand and love because he's, but not everybody has that. And so sometimes I'm afraid that, you know, the generations coming up aren't going to have the passion that we have to preserve this culture that we have here that's so important to Ocala, Marion County and the surrounding areas, that we keep that.
Well, there's a lot of ways that you have to learn, and I don't know about it. I'm just aware with how do you pass on a farm to not get all of a sudden you can't pass it on because they're going to come and tax this. That there's information that needs to be known about that, and when you can have people like yourself to support families
it
and keep that where
Absolutely.
it makes it harder for families to lose the farm.
Right.
It's an important thing. Right.
It is, and it matters. You know, I mean, it matters all over the world. It matters all over the U.S. But I think, you know, one of the things that draws people to Ocala, to Marion County, is the beautiful farms and the farmland and the horses, and that's a key part of the economy here as well. So we have to remember that a lot of people may not want to come here if we didn't have this wonderful draw. So there's a balance. And what I love about Busy from the very first time I met her was not anti-development and not anti-jobs and anti the things we need, but just having them in the right place, in where they belong, and keeping the farms preserved, which is so wonderful that we have a farmland preservation area here that is protected. But to have, you know, someone always battling for us, it really matters. And especially back when the FDOT had the threat of the Coastal Connector and Horse Farms Forever jumped in. Let's talk about how you were with a different organization and now you're with Horse Farms Forever, which is absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't think of a better fit. But talk about that transition and how that's going to work.
Yeah, so I in 2017 I actually created my own project in Marion County.
I remember.
Called the Horse Country Protection Program, and I really just wanted to educate. I held community-wide summits about how Marion County was going to grow, what was the future of Marion County, how were we going to protect what makes Marion County so special. And the long-term goal of that was to implement new policies in Marion County's comprehensive plan, which we call a rural land management plan. How are you going to manage your rural area? And I was just me, myself, and I, pretty much.
I know, I remember. I was so impressed.
But we had a great, I remember the very first leadership roundtable meeting. I had 40 leaders from the community. You were there. We had the mayor, Commissioner Michelle Stone, both city and county planning departments, Farm Bureau, Farm Credit, big farms, small farms. My first meeting was scheduled May 8th, 2018. On May 1st, FDOT unveiled the maps for the Coastal Connector. I invited 40 people to my meeting, and 40 people showed up on May 8th. They're like, okay, what do we do?
I remember that.
Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, so that was sort of the beginning of the conversation. And then out of that, sort of the chaos of the Coastal Connector, everybody was kind of running around, not knowing what to do. 3 influential landowners got together and formed Horse Farms Forever because they needed to be a united voice. Right. And they needed, you know, a real organization to come together. So I'm sort of back in the, you know, behind the scenes doing my project. Horse Farms Forever was formed in 2018, right after the Coastal Connector was announced.
Hold that thought, Busy.
Okay.
We actually have to go to break, but the good news is we're coming right back with Busy, and we're going to finish this story and hear the rest, and about the Conservation Summit too, which I'm really excited about and mentioned at the beginning of the show. So stay with us. This is the end of the first half only, second half coming up. We'll be right back. Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louise Vartan. In the studio, I have special guest, Jake Birnbaum, who is back, our guest co-host, and also Busy Shires Byerly from Horse Farms Forever. Going to jump over really quick for a mention for Pulse Center of Ocala. I have a confession, and that is the last couple of weeks I have not had enough time to get in, and I can feel the difference. If you're an equestrian and your body is aching and hurting, and you're putting it through the paces, riding several horses a day, then you know what those aches and pains are like. And Pulse Center of Ocala can absolutely change that. A couple of visits a week, even once a week, I was regularly getting in and I felt 100% better. Energy levels, less aches and pains, and much more mobility. So make sure you check them out. Pulse Center of Ocala. Equestrians need it. We take care of our horses, not us so much. Switching it back to Busy, we were talking about Horse Farms Forever, you kind of coming together and with that organization. Kind of take us forward from that point, and how the farms are getting involved, what people can do, and then I want to talk about the Conservation Summit as well.
Okay, so Horse Farms Forever was formed in 2018, and the mission is to help preserve the character and culture that horse farms, horses, and the farmland preservation area bring to Marion County. And our board is actually made up of, we have an eventer, we have a dressage rider, we have Chester Weber, carriage driving, we have racehorse people, we have a realtor. So we have a very diverse board of people that are really interested in preserving what we have in Marion County. And so after the Coastal Connector was defeated, we got that letter from DOT saying canceled. We could all
it was
take
good news.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very good news. It was like a big sigh of relief. But the question was, what do we do now? And as as time went on, they could see that there were still threats to the farmland preservation area. There were still zoning changes, land use changes, and so they made a conscious decision that they were going to sort of be that watchdog and take it to the next level. They were very active in the update of the comprehensive plan. The next year, in 2019, they were able to add some new
I remember that.
language to help protect the farmland preservation area. But as we've gone forward, we realized that even though there were some tools added, we do need to still add some more conservation tools. And so that's what this Conservation Summit is about. We have Commissioner Adam Putnam coming. He was our former Commissioner of Agriculture from the state of Florida. And he is several generation farmer
Yes.
and rancher.
He's
not
a
sure how
wonderful
many-
man.
Yes, and I'm not sure how many generations. Also a conservationist. He's now the CEO of Ducks Unlimited. And he's really able to sort of tie that, farming tradition and conservation together in a really powerful message. And I hope that
I'm
will
a
help.
really big fan of
Yeah.
his. Always was.
Yeah,
Great
he's-
guy.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that will help inspire us. His speech and his talk will help us, to say that we can come together. We can have this. We can have the best of both worlds. And then Billy Van Pelt.
Another guy I love.
Yeah. He's from a national organization, the American Farmland Trust, and they
Yes.
do research on a nationwide basis about the loss of farmland, best practices of how to protect those
His
farms.
presentations are phenomenal. I mean, he really gets to
Yeah,
the nuts and bolts and the
He
really
does.
important facts. He's a great guy.
yeah.
It's important for us to know that stuff on how this works, because progress is the name of the game, right? Like, how do we keep moving forward? It's a wonderful time to live in Ocala. I was scrolling through, and we're like the 6th best place to live in the country. You shared that
Yes,
news
I did.
this week, and it's because
How do we keep that?
how do we
Right.
keep that? This is an up and coming place
Right.
without sacrificing what makes this
Exactly.
place special. So how do we
Exactly.
bring more people in, be able to handle more people being here? However, keep the horse farms working where they can be there for people to enjoy,
Right.
and keep Ocala.
Totally. It's a
Yes.
balancing act, isn't it?
Yes, and that's what Billy's going to be showing us, is that, the good news is that there are tools that private landowners can use right now today without any comprehensive plan policies. It's conservation easements, donation of development rights, all those. It's just, very detailed. And the other good news is that there are communities that Billy's going to share with us that are from across the nation that have found that balance. That's why you have an urban growth boundary. Your urban growth is directed inside that urban growth boundary. That's where your services, your water, your sewer, your schools, your fire, and your police all are sort of directed within that urban core. And then you have your more rural services outside in the rural area. That also saves taxpayers money. So you're not having to extend water and sewer lines way out into the countryside or urban type services. So the other thing that Billy's going to present is that this is not just an issue in Marion County. This is a nationwide issue. So it's the American Farmland Trust report is called The State of the States. And this is happening on a nationwide basis. But the concern really is that if we're going to be a nation that feeds ourselves, and we have population growth, but at the same time we're losing our most fertile land to population growth and sprawling urban development, these two things are going to collapse, and we've got to find that balance so that we protect our best soils in order to feed ourselves in the future.
Right.
It's going to be
and food is sort of important.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. So the Conservation Summit, tell us, I know you said the registration's almost full.
Right.
I'm going to be there. I'm excited to hear more. Tell us about that.
So it's Thursday, November 19th from 12 to 2:30 p.m. at Golden Ocala. We'll have lunch served. Tickets are $30 each. And we're limited to 120 people. We are following the social distancing guidelines. We'll have encouraging people to wear masks and have all that good stuff there,
right.
Sanitizers on the table. But we're hoping that it will still be an in-person event, and we're encouraging people to attend and continue this conversation. This is the first step. The second step after that actually is we are hoping to conduct a community-wide survey, a quality of life community-wide survey, which was similar to the one conducted in Lexington by the Matrix Group. And they were able to form a partnership between the Chamber, Tourism, Farm Bureau, and also we're hoping to form a similar partnership, but it would be conducted in Marion County, hopefully in the spring of 2021, and ask questions about how do you feel about the quality of life in Marion County, transportation issues, economic issues, healthcare issues, and then our questions are, how do you feel about protecting the farmland preservation area? Would you support, increased policies or sales taxes to help protect that? So those are all questions that this committee and this partnership will help develop, hopefully in the spring of 2021.
Nice.
And that will be a first step forward to help give, it won't just be our opinion or, the community's
Right.
It'll be a real survey conducted by a real survey group to say, this is what our community wants moving forward. And that will hopefully be sort of like a springboard to take to the county commission and our elected officials to say, now we can move forward with adding more policies to our comprehensive plan because we have this support on a
Right.
community-wide level.
And it does matter so much. I mean,
Right.
it's so important.
Right.
And it is, to me, I think it's our culture. It's what makes people want to come here.
And our economy, 18% of our economy.
It's huge.
So.
Yes, it's huge, and that's growing all the time. So we are at the end of this segment already. That just flew by.
Okay.
But I want to mention again, for more information, please do go to horsefarmsforever.com. You can go there, even if the Conservation Summit is full, you can become a partner with them, you can make a donation to them, and help to keep this moving forward. We feel like it is a really, really important part. We're very, very glad to have an organization like this taking such a lead and such an important role in a community where this is really needed. And, as Busy and I said, it's not an anti-development, it's not anti-jobs or growth here. And as Jake said, it is balancing those two things to make sure that we have the best of both worlds here in Ocala and Marion County, and we're all for that. So check them out, horsefarmsforever.com. We'll be back on the Horse Talk Show in just a few minutes. Stay with us.